Good evening, ladies and gents. It's Christmas Eve. I don't know how that's relevant because, this isn't going to be posted today. It's Christmas Eve, and I decided that I was going to be super ambitious this year, and instead of buying people things, I was going to just make a bunch of goodies and cookies and stuff, because that's what I'm good at. So that's what we're doing tonight. I've already made 3 batches of cookies, none of which were super complicated, but I'll take pictures of everything so you can see it. But this recipe is one that I really wanted to share with you guys, because it's not really something that you see a whole lot of, and they're really good. I've made these before, and they were, to quote one of Jake's friends, hot fire. So that means good, I guess. And I really like them. I think that they're really good, and are different, not something that you usually eat, but since it's the holidays, I figure that we should do something. Oh. Do something nice and special, since I'm giving these cookie tins to our family as their gifts this year. So these are a molasses cookie, and we're going to be putting a coffee glaze on them. Now, molasses cookies I had never really heard of until I saw this recipe, and I'm not a huge molasses fan. It's not very appealing to me to eat, and it's not really a super common thing anymore. So I was kind of like, I really don't know if I want to try this recipe or not, but I'm really glad that I did, because it's a really nice spicy cookie. Hi Lola. Kitty. She's enjoying all the extra bags and packages and stuff that we have lying around since it's Christmas. But yeah, these are nice, spicy, warm, chewy, delicious cookie. And they're very good, and I think that Jake's family will love them. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so in my mixer here, we're going to put 3/4 of a cup of softened butter. This has been out all day, so it's nice and soft. So 3/4 of a cup is 1 whole stick, and then half of another stick. So now to our butter, we're going to add 1/2 a cup of white sugar, and we also need 1/2 a cup of firmly packed brown sugar. This is just light brown sugar. It doesn't really matter what you're using here. We just need brown sugar. So we're going to cream this together. Alright, so that's nice and creamy. Now to this, we're going to add 1/3 of a cup of molasses. Now, for those of you who don't know what molasses is, I really didn't know what molasses was. Molasses is a byproduct of the sugar making process. So basically what happens is when sugar cane or sugar beets are processed, they're boiled down, and the sugar will crystallize as it's being boiled down, and those crystals are scooped off of the surface of the liquid that they're being boiled from, and whatever is left is the molasses. And the molasses can be processed a few times, and each time it's processed, the darker it gets. This is just regular standard molasses, so it's only been processed once. Now, molasses is not a super common product anymore. It's typically just a bit more expensive than white sugar or brown sugar, and that's sort of kind of a more recent thing that's happened. So molasses was huge, like in the 1817 and 1800s. It was the primary source of like sweetener in the United States, and molasses was imported to the U.S. from the West Indies. And the West Indies nowadays is like the U.S. Virgin Islands, the Bahamas, Cuba, you know, all of the the islands in the Caribbean, pretty much. And it was imported into the U.S., exported into the U.S., imported, whatever, into the U.S., primarily to make rum at first, but it was also used as like the primary sweetener because sugar, white sugar and brown sugar, sugar cane was very expensive. Now, the British imported, oh my gosh, look at me not knowing my proper history words. The British imposed a molasses tax, and since it was so like widely imported into the United States from the West Indies, nobody paid that tax. Nobody really paid attention to it or followed it, which is pretty cool. We've been rebels from the start. But after World War I, around 1919, the price on molasses, the access and affordability of like white and brown sugar became like much more, I don't know, more people were able to buy it. So the need and use of molasses decreased. And then there was a big like molasses plant like fire that happened, and it like I guess like destroyed a bunch of like molasses and killed a bunch of people, and ever since then the price of molasses has been pretty expensive. So yeah. And really the only things that like molasses are used in anymore is like gingerbread, or like molasses cookies, which is just, it's kind of like a gingerbread cookie. It has ginger in it, though ginger is not the primary spicy flavor. So it's pretty interesting, the history of molasses, I think, but I'm a really big history nerd, so you know, whatever. But yeah, so it's not super common to use molasses anymore. And like I said, I don't really care for the flavor of it. When I was in high school, my best friend's little brother used to use molasses instead of pancake syrup, and I thought it was the weirdest thing ever. So I guess it just depends on what kind of like a flavor palette you prefer, or like have, to what sort of flavors that you like. Not a super big fan, but in these cookies it tastes really good. It's like nice, and just it adds a certain sort of, I don't know, just like a different like undertone of flavor. Like you have all of these really like powerful spices that hit your palate right off the bat, and then it just sort of like mellows out into this sort of like creamy, like rich, sugary flavor. So it's good, it's interesting, it's fun. Yeah, cool stuff. So 1/3 of a cup of molasses is in here, and then we're going to add 1 large egg. That egg is room temperature. It's been sitting out since last night, and it's perfectly safe. Trust me, I know. I looked it up. And then to that, we're going to add a teaspoon of vanilla extract. Let that combine. Alright, so that's come together. It's nice and brown. See, nice and brown. I cannot give you an honest review of what it smells like right now because I don't like the smell of molasses. It smells, initially what you get is kind of like, not like licorice, but kind of like burnt sugar, I guess. Just a very kind of like sickly, like smoky, not even really smoky, just sort of like a heavy like sugar smell. But it, at the same, this is gonna sound weird, at the same time it also kind of smells like beer. Not like weedy or like hoppy, but kind of like just sort of like a dark beer. So sort of like, I I don't know how to describe that. Somebody help me. Somebody in the comments describe what molasses smells like to me, because I am doing a very, very bad job of relaying this to you. Okay, so that's good to go. I already got our dry ingredients ready ahead of time. So in this bowl, I have 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I have 2 teaspoons of baking soda. I have 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. I have 1 teaspoon of ginger. I have 1/2 teaspoon of cloves, and I have 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. And all of these are ground. I bought mine pre-ground, but you can grind them yourself if you want. More power to you. Whatevs. But yeah, so I'm just gonna sort of zhuzh this around. And like I said, these are like a really nice, like warm, spicy cookie. And I'm not a super big fan of gingerbread, just because like I'm not a big like ginger prominent flavor person. But these are really nice. Like I think the cinnamon and the allspice and the cloves sort of help like not combat the ginger, but help sort of tone it down a little bit and bring forward some other good spicy flavors. So we're just gonna gradually add this into our wet mixture. Okay, there is our dough. It smells spicy, which is good, so that the molasses isn't the predominant flavor anymore, or smell anymore. So here I have about 1/3 cup of granulated white sugar, and I have my 1.5 inch cookie scoop here. So I'm just going to scoop and roll it aside, plop it into my hand, kind of roll it into a ball, and roll it in the white sugar here, and then just put it on my baking sheet. And I'm going to continue this process until my baking sheet is full. These cookies will spread, so you want to leave a good bit of space in between them, so that they can spread while they're baking. I'm probably going to do 3 in a row. Now rolling them in sugar just sort of creates a nice sort of like crusty outside, because the cookie itself is so like chewy and soft. So I think it's a nice contrast. And then we're going to be putting a coffee glaze on these after they're baked and cool. And I think that just sort of like enhances the molasses and like spicy flavors as well. These are really, really good cookies. These went over really well the last time that I made them. And so I'm hoping that Jake's family members like these and enjoy them, and then hopefully watch this video and can make them for themselves, which would be super exciting for me. Everything would come full circle, you know. And now I can be like, if someone wants a recipe, I can be like, hey, you know what? I would love to share it with you. Go check out my YouTube. Watch me, Frady Bakes by Sheena, and you'll get the full recipe, and you can watch me make it and follow along. Make it for yourself. That would be cool. I actually love it when people tell me that they watch my videos. It makes me feel really good. And I actually had somebody tell me that they were going to try and make the pepperoni roll recipe that I shared with you all a week or so ago. And I'm so anxious to see how it turns out for them, and I hope that they love the rolls and love the pepperoni rolls in the process of making those. So, you know who you are. Tell me what you think. I know you will. You told me you did. So, but you know, I get. Okay, so here are our cookies. I'm only gonna do 9 because, like I said, these spread out pretty big when they bake. So I'm gonna bake these in a 350-degree oven. They're gonna bake for 8 to 10 minutes. I'm probably gonna go smack dab in the middle at 9 and see where we're at. And then we're gonna cool these completely on a wire rack and then glaze them. Alrighty. I will show you how to make the glaze because it's pretty easy, and I will keep you tuned in. Okay guys, real quick, I just wanted to show you how to make the glaze. So it's 1 cup of powder, 1 cup of powdered sugar, 1/3 of a cup of heavy whipping cream, and 1.5 teaspoons of instant coffee. Or you could do instant espresso, whichever you have at the house. And I'm just going to whisk this together. All right, so there it is. It smells nice. Like the coffee flavor isn't too strong. So if you have like a caffeine sensitivity or don't really like the taste of coffee, excuse me, you definitely don't really notice this. Don't notice it in the glaze. It's just like sort of like a flavor enhancer. It helps sort of bring out all of the other spicy flavors. However, if you just are really not a coffee fan, you can by all means eat the cookies just as they are, and they are perfectly delicious either way. I have made these before, so there are pictures already on my Instagram of what they look like. You can check them out. Let me know what you think. Offer any sort of feedback. I love any and all of it. I will, however, I've been up too long today. I will, however, show you what my final goodie boxes or goodie cookie tins look like. So be sure to stay tuned for that. And again, check it out, Brady Bakes by Sheena on Instagram. It's pretty great. You can see everything that I make that I don't do videos for, so it's pretty interesting. Gotta keep up. All right, thank you all so much for all of the love and support in me doing this. I appreciate it more than you will ever know, and I wish you all the happiest of holidays, and until next time.